Mr.
Question number 12, Catherine Delahunty.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker, tēnā koutou te wharenui. To the Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, is he comfortable with Landcorp's large-scale dairy conversions in the Waikato?
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Todd McClay.
Mr. Speaker, in general, yes, although I would note that Landcorp continue to consider a number of uses for that land, including dairy. However, fluctuations in international commodity prices are likely to impact on their financial performance, like many dairy farmers in New Zealand. Investment in dairy is generally undertaken on the basis of a long-term view on average dairy prices through time. Mr. Speaker, the contractual agreement signed by Landcorp in 2004 means that Landcorp is contractually obliged to undertake land conversion activity on the Wairaki estate until 2049.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Catherine Delahunty.
In the light of that answer, will this government review the contract between Landcorp and Wairaki Pastoral and tell the public what options there are to stop the conversions, which will not only undermine farmers downstream and pollute the environment, but also impact on Landcorp's balance sheet?
The Honourable Todd McClay.
Mr. Speaker, that's an issue for the Landcorp board. They're the ones that entered into that obligation, and they're the ones that have the obligation through that contract. But I would say to the member, the time for a government to visit that contract was in 2004 before it was signed. I do understand the government at the time was consulted, and the ministers gave their assent to that contract that's entered into force and will be in place until 2049.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Catherine Delahunty.
What will it take for the government to place a moratorium on Landcorp dairy conversions, given the overwhelming evidence they're economically risky and environmentally irresponsible?
The Honourable Todd McClay.
Mr. Speaker, again, it's not for the government to make that decision. I, as Minister, expect Landcorp to meet all of its environmental obligations anywhere it farms in New Zealand, including in the Waikato. We expect them to meet full requirements of the Resource Management Act. This is a discussion that I've had with Landcorp Board on a number of occasions. To the best of my knowledge, they meet those obligations and requirements.
Supplementary question, David Seymour.
Is it not a conflict of interest for the government to be both the owner of a dairy-oriented company and the regulator of the environmental impacts of dairy?
The Honourable Todd McClay.
Well, no, it's not, although I would say to the member this isn't a dairy company, it's a farming organisation that has diverse farming interests across a spectrum of farming operations within New Zealand. Secondly, though, Mr. Speaker, actually when it comes to the operation of Landcorp or any other farming entity in New Zealand, the RMA suggests or dictates that it is regional councils that has the competence that he's speaking of.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Catherine Delahunty.
Is the government ruling out selling off Landcorp farms to foreign owners rather than keeping the strategically important farmland in New Zealand hands?
The Honourable Todd McClay.
No, Mr. Speaker, Landcorp buys and sells farms all of the time. Indeed, they have almost always done so. The government expects them to manage their business well. We want to see a reasonable, fair return to the taxpayer. We don't want them to have unnecessarily high levels of debt that could put their business into some form of peril. And this is again a conversation for a period of time I've been having with the Landcorp board.
Supplementary question, David Seymour.
Are there good reasons for the government to be in the business of farming? And if there are, why stop there?
The Honourable Todd McClay.
Mr. Speaker, there are many reasons why the government is involved in Landcorp. Some of them are good.
And that concludes questions for oral answer. I understand it is the government's intention to introduce an increased supply bill.
Increased supply, second for 2015.